Hey there, and first of all, welcome to the second part of the training on coaching people on their big dreams. So, if you remember in the previous video, part one, we talked about the four dimensions of life mastery: health and well being, love and relationships, vocation, career fulfillment, and time and money freedom. And they're the four areas of life mastery that we help people to achieve more of their potential in. Today, what we're going to do is we're just going to look at a little bit about the journey of transformation. So this is the journey of the transformation. So what's happening as a person? This is where they're kind of hanging out right now. They're in that zone of preservation. People have this instinct for social safety. We want to stay, people call it the comfort zone, right? So we want to stay comfort, we want to stay familiar, we want to be safe. So that's what's pulling us in. And then we've got something which is the big dream, which is pulling us out. So what happens when we're actually coaching a client is actually two forces working simultaneously. We've got the instinct of social safety that pulls the player or the client in. And then we've got the big dream, which pulls the player out. And what we're actually doing when we're coaching is we're actually managing this pull between the instinct for social safety in the zone of preservation and the big dream. Now, the problem when we have a superficial goal or a goal which is not meaningful, it's not purposeful, it's not deep, it's not really truly our purpose, it's someone else's goal or someone else's dream, or it's just a superficial, shallow, goal. The problem is with that, it doesn't really have the pulling power that a meaningful, deep, purposeful, soul-driven goal has. So whenever we're coaching a client, there's always that pull between, the client's always being pulled between staying safe, staying within that area of comfort, and also going out there, reaching out into that dream goal. So there's different zones. Let's just explore the zones first, and then we'll go into the model a bit deeper. So the first zone is called the instinct for social safety. This is basically, we want to be safe. This is one of our core drivers, right? This instinct for social safety. The next zone is called the zone of preservation. The next zone coming out is the zone of fear and growth. So the zone of fear and growth, this is where you could say this is where we start to step out into our, outside of our comfort zone into an area that we've never been before. And it feels very scary. There's a lot of frustration here. There's uncertainty here. There's confusion here because we're doing things that we've never done before. We're trying things that we've never tried before, and it feels scary. I'll give you an example. In fact, if you look at the color coding, it kind of helps you to figure that out. So this inner circle represents like a beach. So this would be the sand on the beach. This water here represents the shallow water. This water here, the dark blue color, represents the deeper water. So just to give you an example, one time I was at the beach with my son. And this was the first time he'd ever been close to such a big body of water before. So, Mum was sitting there, I was sitting here, and we had our son was with us, and he was just a couple of years old at the time. And, we started going out to the water, but he was like a little bit afraid, And then I was holding his hand, and then I went in the water, and he started crying, and then I came back out. And then again, we went a little bit closer this time, and he went to the edge of the water, but he was afraid to go in the water, right? So then he went running back all the way back to Mama. And then next time, we went out a little bit further, and we started to actually get our feet wet a little bit. And then again, got afraid and ran back in. And this is really what's happening, is we're stepping out into territory that we've never been before. So I'll give you the example. Another example was me when I did my first ever public speech, right? So I remember I was learning how to do training, and I was reading all the books about training, and I got trained by my coach was mentoring me on how to be a trainer, and I watched him do it a couple of times. And I thought, yeah, I could do that. But then it was my time to do it on my own first time. He was there in the room, but I was actually the one leading the session. And I remember I was so, in my mind, I was thinking this is going to be amazing. But in actual fact, it was really terrible. And halfway through, I kind of really got scared and I didn't even know what to say. And I came running back in and I asked my trainer, mentor, I really don't know what I'm doing. I need help here. So this is really going out into that zone of fear and growth. It's the first time you've ever done it on your own. It's a solo performance. You're unsure, you're uncertain, or it's the first time you pick up the guitar or whatever it is. But there's a lot of frustration here. This area is called unconscious incompetence. You don't even know what you don't know. This is called conscious incompetence. Now you don't know how to do it, and you're trying it, but it's just not working. So like I said, a lot of frustration. So this is the zone of fear and growth. Now beyond the zone of fear and growth is, beyond the zone of fear and growth is the zone of potential. This is where we start to develop new skills. This is where we start to feel like, oh, actually, maybe I can do this. This is where we start to feel excited. We feel encouraged. We feel inspired. We feel, oh, maybe I actually can do this, right? So this is called the zone of potential. This is like we're getting, it's called conscious competence. It's like now we're actually getting a little bit of a result that we were thinking about. And it's like, oh, wow, I did it for the first time. I actually did it. So we get all excited. So that's called the zone of potential. And in the zone of, and then the outside zone is called the zone of possibility. This is where we start to actually experience more of the big dream that we were aspiring to, right? So not every big dream is actually a big dream. So here's the main point that I really want to make from this model. I think we're all familiar with the comfort zone. We're all familiar about the zone of fear and growth. We're familiar about the zone of potential. We're kind of familiar about those things. But one thing we're not familiar about is how do we actually create a dream which has the pulling power to pull out your coachee or your client into this big dream. So there's 6 things that make your dream worthy. Number 1 is belong. Right? And when I say belong, what I mean is your belongings. Like, what kind of things do you have? What kind of environment have you created around yourself? So your big dream is going to have a specific environment. Just like, for example, right now I'm coaching you, but I'm coaching you from my office, right? This is my office at home, and I've got it set up the way I wanted to. I've got a really nice table that I always wanted, etc. So this is the environment that's kind of part of my big dream. So it could be a house, it could be the place where you live, it could be the things that you have. This is your belongings, right? So that's the kind of the physical stuff. Most people, when they're creating a big dream, they just stop there. I want the car, I want the house, I want the money, I want the bank balance, I want the thing, I want the boat, etc., etc. That's where most people have their big dreams. And it's very, very, I would say this is when it becomes surface level. Now, it is important, but there's so many other things that need to be there. The next thing is, in your big dream, what kind of beliefs would you need to have to make your big dream real for you? So in other words, as you're living your big dream, what kind of beliefs do you have? Do you believe that, life is good? Do you believe that life is difficult? Do you believe that what kind of beliefs would you have in your big dream? Yeah, the next thing, this is one of my favorites, is in this big dream, who have you become? Who have you become? What kind of person have you become? What kind of character have you developed? Who have you stepped into? So when you think about your big dream, who are you in your big dream? What kind of qualities do you have? What kind of character you have? How do you feel inside of yourself on a daily basis? So this is the becoming part. The next part is befriend. Befriend is all about love. It's all about, in your big dream, who would need to be around you for you to be living your dream. And I call this your dream team. So this could be, your friends, it could be your family, it could be your clients that you work with. And the reason why I call it dream team is because when we have relationships with all these people that we do care about, they're actually a part of our dream. In other words, when we're with them, or they're part of our, when they're with us, they're part of our dream, because without them, our dream wouldn't be worth living, right? Or it wouldn't be worth having. So these are the people that are going to be with you, the people that surround you. And the reason why we call it a dream team is, number one, is because they're in your dream, they're fulfilling your dreams. And number two, you're in their life and you're fulfilling their dreams as well. So this is called the dream team. Befriend. I don't want to go too much about that, but there's a lot more about that. The next one is be free. This is all about what kind of experiences are you having? What kind of things do you like to do in your spare time? This is all about time freedom. This is all about money freedom. This is all about being free to have experience that you've always wanted to experience. So this is also a very important part of the dream. And then behold, but I have actually changed this now. I call this behave. What kind of things would you love to do on a daily basis? What would your daily routine look like, right? So what we're doing is actually, when we're coaching the client, is we're actually helping them to create a very holistic dream that includes all of these things. And in that way, this dream becomes a worthy dream that your client is very excited to have. Right. So I just wanted to share a little bit about a big dream and what are some of the essential ingredients of a big dream. So when we're actually coaching our clients, what we do is we'll take them through the whole process. In the beginning, it's a kind of superficial goal, but then we ask questions like, like what kind of environment would you like to create around you? What kind of beliefs and stories would you like to live by? What kind of character would you like to be? How would you like to feel on a daily basis? Who would be there in your dream with you? What kind of experiences would you love to have in your life as well? And how would you like to live on a daily basis? What's your daily rhythm look like? Right? So, and in this way, what we're able to do is we're actually able to create a dream which is worthy of you, right? So the question is not, am I worthy of this dream? The question is this dream worthy of me? And I just wanted to share with you part 2 of the, helping clients to coaching clients on their big dreams. And this is an important part of it. Okay. So if you are interested to find out more about how to do big dream coaching for clients and how to coach a person to create beautiful dreams that pull them out, rather than being pulled into the comfort zone, have a dream that's so attractive and so compelling and so aligned with your soul, so aligned with your spirit that actually pulls you out. So if you want to know how to do that, we actually have a beautiful coach training. And every Saturday, we also do some free coach training as well. Somewhere under this video, you probably see a link. And if you want to join and register, great. If you don't, no problem. Okay, until next time, I'll see you in the next video, part 3. Take care.